It seems to me that the people that know our law and know what these things are about, I guess it's like a doctor. You specialize in one thing, but clearly you don't know everything. And so the best thing, we fall into this whole like, well, on the safe side, let's just safely do something because we're scared of something because we haven't read it yet. We got the same thing going on with the whole I-594 thing. I get people all the time that come in and they start talking about, oh man, this I want to take this and do this and give it to my friend and be such and such. Man, I got a thing for I-594, I'll tell you what. Every single person around here that has an FFL, except for private sector arms, is willing to do this person-to-person transfer facade bullshit. It's absolutely ludicrous that other dealers in this area are actually taking we the people's money because we're too scared to read the damn law ourselves and figure out how to abide by that law. So we are still law-abiding citizens, yet at the same time potentially following the law but not giving in to whatever the weird intended ideology of this individual who come up with these laws, these groups of people that know absolutely nothing about guns, nothing about anything else that pertains to this industry, and they make up these cosmetic rules, they make up these erroneous things about how suddenly all the criminals are going to come in and do a background check. Oh, we get rid of private sales and this, that, and the other thing. All right, I'm going to pull it back in. That's for another one. We'll do a whole nother section on that. I'm telling you, I got something to say about that crap. But I will tell you this right now, there is a way to actually deal and comply with I-594 without ever going into a dealer's house. The dealer, the guy who's supposed to be the gatekeeper for brand new firearms into the citizenry, that guy with that huge responsibility is willing to cash in on the fear of divorcees, relatives, all kinds of stuff, because they did not read the law and they think that abiding by the intent of the law is the right thing to do. Abiding by the intent of the law is never the right thing to do. Why? Because these people and their intentions are absolutely despicable. If somebody passes a law and you are unfortunate enough to be in that city or in that state or in that county or in whatever municipality passed that law, no matter how infringing on your rights it is, you read that sucker. In fact, even more so, because it's so infringing, should you read it with your own mouth and your own eyes. When I say read it with your mouth, I mean you read it out loud. Because it wasn't until I did that literally 28 times did I finally see where we can actually abide by that law without ever going into a dealer and having a background check done. It is a very unenforced law. Thousands of people broke this law at the Capitol building one day. And it was the day after it had already gone into effect. So every single one of these people was guilty of not just the first misdemeanor, but every felony that followed after that. So we've got numerous felonious activity going on literally by the thousands. And Washington State Patrol around everybody. The cops, campus cops for the Capitol around everybody. People are passing back and forth what they determined to be assault rifles. Clearly breaking the transfer I-594 initiative that went into effect. And I mean, they were clearly breaking it. There was no reading of it that would allow them to do what they did. Very clearly breaking this law. And what happened? A couple days after that, State Patrol sent out this thing that said, hey guys, guess what? This law is ambiguous. It's too expensive to try to enforce and prosecute due to all the things that fall apart when you read the definition of what firearm actually is. So here's a little hint. Read that law, read the definition of the firearm, take a look at every single word in that line. And if not every single word in that line falls into place, each one of those things is a qualifier. Each one. And and not one of this X amount. It's not like a California law where they go, if it has one of the following, a detachable magazine, it is an assault rifle. This is very specific, and it does not follow the definition of the federal firearms definition that the federal government came up with, apparently. It's not what the ATF considers to be a firearm. So as long as that's in that configuration, it does not fall under that law, and you cannot be prosecuted for it as far as we can tell. Now granted, I'm not a lawyer, but I read. At the very least, I owe it to the society and the fact that we're sitting here trying to make sure that these people get armed appropriately, legally, within their rights. Amen, end of story. I don't care where you're from, what your walk of life is. I don't give a shit if you're heterosexual, bisexual, transsexual, pansexual, but I don't care what it is. I don't care what religion you're from. I really don't care what religion you're from. When it comes to whether or not I will sell you a gun, the only thing that matters to me as an arms dealer, as a We the People arms dealer, is that the letter of the law is followed. And I can continue to provide that service of redistributing brand new firearms into the market of the citizenry, for an armed citizenry, for a polite society. Sure, it's overused, but man, I'll be damned if it's not true.